Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
If you pick today's papers, you take the Inquisitor for instance, Ghana for NPP for Monsori, Vulgar Wontumi weeps. That is how the Inquisitor newspaper has captured this story. Another paper says that Wontumi to Anna NIB invitation today. The Daily Democrat says Wontumi cries like a baby. So it's on pages 2, 3, 6, and 11. You know, the papers have given credence to this story. The Daily Guide says Wontumi storms NIB today after arrest drama. But of course, Wontumi is no stranger to Ghanaian politics. The Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party. There's a lot.
The father of Galamsey in Ghana.
Well, there's a lot happening relative to this man. I'm sure Prince Dereck AJ has some intel as to why the National Investigation Bureau, the NIB for that matter, decided to raid his residence. I'm hearing stories about some monies being paid to him to construct a road. The road wasn't done. He decided to buy government security with some 39 million cedis.
So you have the intel. Why do you want to credit me? Why do you want to credit me with the intel you already have?
He withdrew some 11 million Ghana cedis and in cash. But I mean, the man is complaining. He said he doesn't even have access to his bank account to pay his children's school fees. What is happening?
Well, I believe Kojo Chumbafo would have the intel for you. He's the head of the Financial Intelligence Center, and they are able to track every bank account and almost every financial transaction, whether electronic or other. And a good morning to our good friend Raymond Acha, also of the IOCO, and on and on and on. The government has enough state security institutions that are able to conduct investigations, and unfortunately, under the NPP, Gabi was put in charge. Using his what do you call it, his NGO or CSO, Dan Point Street, right? And putting the heads in places so he can fully control those. Those have been reset, or are in the process of being reset, and so these are fruits of the reset. The amounts of monies that you've quoted are indeed correct, and those are not mere allegations. I think that Wontumi is a man of many parts. Not only, and just like Kennedy Japan and all the others, I mean, you know, the NPP was in the business of awarding contracts to itself. If you listen to that Arr3sted tape on the school feeding and why she would not allow herself to be used to cheat the system and do corrupt things, she was categorical that they told her to, as it were, falsify figures so they can cream off school feeding money. She will be invited, and she mentioned names, chief of staff, the president, and other people in that interview. Nobody's above the law. In fact, the president, Akuffo Addo, and the vice president, all those people are not above the law. In fact, for the next 3 years or so, 2.5 years, President Akuffo Addo can be arrested, tried, prosecuted, and jailed. His immunity kicks in after 3 years. And I believe that the state investigative agencies must, quicken the pace. Al Jazeera talked about some gold mafia and his role and that of his nephews. And people want to assume it's Gabi and Bedieto and those other nephews of his and government who were known. Those investigations are also ongoing. There are several investigations that are ongoing. I believe very strongly that it's a matter of time. I look forward to June 4th. As a day for the mass arrests and prosecutions, because it stands for probity and accountability. I was hoping that the boss and Sami will be here. They have been asking for oral to work. Yeah. I believe you also believe in that oral must work.
Yes, it must. It should.
I want to entreat you guys, and of course some of us would want to join you, to adopt the Revolution Square, the one directly opposite the Flagstaff House. It's in a very bad state. And so if that is a symbol for probity and accountability, and you all believe in it, and Ghanaians overwhelmingly believe in it, it should not be in the sorry site in which it is. It must be cleaned up. It must be painted. It must look nice. so that at least it will symbolize the fact that there is a reset of the probity and accountability agenda that Ghanaians have embraced so overwhelmingly, and the evidence of it is in the 2024 election results. This man is the father of Galamsey. We all know it as it's been done today in Ghana. He came on set with gold bars showing whatever, and even said he was richer than Otumfuo and all that. We heard and saw all those videos. This man owns Akonta Mining. We all know what Akonta Mining has done. In fact, his own president, Akuffo Addo's Ministry of Lands and the Minerals Commission had indicted his company for, as it were, doing unlawful things in the forests and in the water bodies. This man is part of the people who have poisoned our rivers and water bodies, destroyed our forests. This man is credited with a large-scale importation of excavators for the purpose of Galamsey, and brought the Chinese in their droves to do Galamsey under President Akuffo. You see, if we are indeed serious about fighting Galamsey, and we are indeed serious about not dealing with just the little boys and all the small fry, and one of the kingpins, this is a picture of one of the kingpins. Kate Jemfua, the women organizer of the NPP, is another kingpin or queenpin or whatever you want to call her. She's the equivalent of Aisha 1 when it comes to Galamsey. She has also taken one of those building lands and cantonments, the civil aviation, together with Addison and his deputies. The crooks, they are there. They cannot be enjoying their loot whilst we are suffering as, a people. And so I hail the NIB's, I wouldn't call it what you guys call it, storming or whatever, arrest and so on, but invitation. And he's going to be investigated, he's going to be interrogated on a number of things. It will not be limited to the one that you are talking about. Because if the man has committed 10 sins, why should we be invited and dealt with on one? He can be released on one, arrested on one the next day, and so on. But every man must answer for his crimes. The looting that has gone on is just crazy. You have talked about the plundering. There will be people who will be mentioned. Of course, he didn't go and take that money that you are alluding to. I mean, somebody must have processed it. All those involved in that chain must be arrested and prosecuted. I feel sad that our court system has been so badly bastardized in the wake of this Chief Justice saga. And she has even thrown a West salvo in there, saying that she doesn't trust the judges of the Supreme Court and that they are biased. I mean, we've known the bias of most of our judges in the past. We've known their political leanings and all that. But for the Chief Justice and a former Attorney General to now confirm what either we knew or suspected makes mockery of the judicial system. And I think that takes us to the next level, where we need to call for the quick establishment of the public tribunals. All the regional tribunals must be set up, and the public tribunals must start working. They must be fast-tracked so that we can have speedy trials. In fact, even criminals deserve speedy trials. Abi? And the numerous cases of corruption and Galamsey require that there are speedy trials. In fact, there must also be special courts established to do justice to these people and dispense justice. I look forward to that beyond just the mass arrests of the criminals. I say criminals without apologies. I mean, if somebody steals, the person is a thief. And the thief is a criminal, because that is a crime. I think that recovering our loot will have to necessarily start with arresting those who we know have looted. Prosecuting them is the next step. And then sentencing them is even key. But I don't want to see them walk away with the loot after doing their sentence. And I think that the Attorney General has been very clear that recovery of the loot is his number one priority. So if they would return the loot, he may see their cases more favorably when it comes to prosecution. I don't subscribe also to the man just returning the loot and walking away. But they should return the loot, but they should, at least suffer something for at least thinking of doing that and actually doing to serve as a deterrent to others. So that will be my take on Wontumi. I mean,
we are. I mean, like you mentioned in your initial when you were starting to share your thoughts on this particular topic. I want oral to work. However, there's a general fear that this could be a 9-day wonder. That is the fear, and I don't know if you know about that. But the general fear is that all of this talk about prosecuting people who have raped the public purse, people who have plundered and stolen our monies as a state, all of this talk would eventually amount to naught. Because, I mean, in my personal opinion, some of the people that I think may be complicit in some of these criminal, enterprises are still out there, and they are bold enough to speak on issues.
Yeah.
Like they speak on issues as though nothing is happening.
Mention the names. Afenyo is responsible in part for the ECG. No. Let's put it where it is.
People are there and boldly.
No, hold on. I will help you along, because you see, you cannot say you support oral must work and not be bold enough to mention names. Call people out. That's the first thing, and let people be arrested and prosecuted.
That is not in my place.
That's
not in my place. So the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. The Attorney General.
Can you confirm what I'm going to ask you? That Afenyo Makin was indeed board chairman for the ECG.
He was.
At the time when these containers went missing. Can you confirm also that he said on the floor of Parliament that he's been aware of this for at least 2 years? What did he do about it?
You said it wasn't an NPP NDC thing.
Forget about whether. No, this is a criminal thing. Who's talking about NDC NPP? You see, Afenyo Makin and his ilk, these criminals try to play political football with everything. We have had situations where people have been removed as EC chair, as trash boss, and so on, using Article 146. They have sat on and prevented people from being removed as chief justices for the same Article 146. And that's why I say hypocrites. Hypocrites like the Occupy Ghana and Samsaladi and co. Must stop, the nonsense. That Sam Kujeto guy, that lawyer, that old man. That's the kind of nonsense must stop in Ghana. We do not have two sets of Ghana. Where when it is to do with somebody, then it must be put into a political football. When it's another, then conveyor belt. Nonsense. Look, Afenyo Makin, ECG containers have gone missing under his watch. Was it NDC ECG containers or NPP? Total nonsense. He said he knew about it for 2 years. What did he do about it? He must be answering questions. No, he was water company to whatever, isn't it? Now, the Signals Bureau gentleman, the internet was selling to the water company and pocketing. Was he aware of that as well? Look, Parliament is resuming tomorrow. The immunity of every parliamentarian, the immunity, they are saying that the Chief Justice should waive privilege to in camera. When even the Constitution is clear that it must be in camera. It's not a privilege. It's a constitutional edict on the president and all those involved to make sure that this thing is held in camera. They leak the thing and then suddenly get their media people and other CSOs, including the Ghana Bar Association, to make this bastardize the whole process by public discussions. And then they say she should waive what? She's not going to waive anything. If they want to waive anything, they should waive their parliamentary immunity. In any case, parliamentary immunity from being harassed, quote unquote, harassed on your way to Parliament or from Parliament and so on, is just to stop harassment, not to insulate people against criminality. And so the state institutions must work. Parliament is one arm of government, the executive is another, the judiciary is another. No one body can, as it were, insulate itself completely from prosecution. And therefore, we must be able to attach these persons, they are persons to the crimes. The Speaker of Parliament has had some arrangement where these people can actually be dealt with. They may even be interrogated in Parliament and so on. If they like, they should make the cameras follow them there. Because when you want things to be seen on this television, in the interest of the public, isn't it? Ghanaians want to know what Afenyo Makin knows about the ECG containers. Ghanaians want to know about every other crime that has been committed. No parliamentarian, whether NDC or NPP, in fact, those NDC persons who are supposedly involved in Galamsey must be treated the same way as an NPP person who is involved in Galamsey. In any case, Galamsey is destroying our forests, is destroying our water bodies, is destroying our farmlands, our cocoa. In fact, it's killing people. Unborn children are being deformed and so on. And so this is not an NDC NPP matter. We must criminalize criminality and with one accord, ensure that the loot is returned regardless of political affiliation. Or, look, let me be very clear. when it comes to Galamsey, this is not the only person who's been named. The February Party report. Everybody from Gabi Ochedapo through what's his name? Abu Jinapo, Benito, George Mekuduka, those are the ministry. Then the Minerals Commission guy, what's his name? Martin Isi. Then John Alute, Forestry Commission. They must not be held. Ekwe Ujisi, Charles Bisu, Charles Owusu. Everybody must face the music, without exception. And I think that in the same vein, the NDC persons who have been named, and so far you hear, oh, an NDC chairman, we stopped some people from, they should name the person and let us deal with the person. If there's an NDC, NPP, MP or whatever involved, name them. They have names. The Protozwa guy, Frank Asiedu Bekwe. So the Speaker of Parliament said he will not allow any MP who doubles in Galamsey to remain in the chamber. We must support such, statements with action. Ghanaians must support the speaker. So even if it's an NDC or NPP or independent candidate, the person is flushed out of parliament. If in the same vein, it's not just about Galamsey, the loot, the plundering of the public purse, if it's an NDC, NPP or independent MP, he must be flushed. No immunity must work. Immunity from what? Criminality? You see why thieves are going to our parliament? And very soon, thieves will rule this country without inhibition, impunity. That's what will come to if we allow this to happen. Ghanaians overwhelmingly voted, and citizens must begin to even arrest these people if the state institutions cannot be allowed or will not be allowed. And I'm surprised, actually, and I think that the state security agencies should have by now arrested the third vice chairman of the NPP. He said that when they come, they should be shot. And we had idiots who are lawyers, saying that, yes, they support that kind of listen, and that people should not go into people's homes. Hey, really? People should not go into thieves' homes? Hey, what is this country coming to? The impunity. Why are some people more special than others? Chachitikata, he was a church. Susu was a church, right?
Yeah. So
the church, the house of God, that can be invaded, but the house of mere mortals cannot be invaded? Really? Look, some Ghanaians are more Ghanaian than others' philosophy of the NPP. It won't work. This time around, Ghanaians are wiser for it. The citizens' arrest component of the Constitution of Ghana will kick in very soon if the state institutions are not allowed. So they better allow the state institutions to, in an orderly manner, in a very professional manner, have them arrested, okay, interrogated, dockets prepared, prosecutions done, sentencing done. This attempt to woo the judiciary by trying to say the judiciary and go on a demonstration to appease Chief Justice who is perceived to be NPP and now being portrayed to all intents and purposes to be NPP, right? Will not save anybody from serving jail time if they have to do jail time. And as for the loot, we'll collect it. If the state does not do it, ordinary citizens will go there. And the Constitution allows that to happen. They don't want disorder. They should allow orderly prosecutions to happen.
Right, thank you. If you're just joining us, this is the newspaper review segment of Good Morning Africa. We are streaming on Facebook. We are streaming on, we should be streaming on YouTube as well. Make sure you do well to join us. Let me take time to go through some of the messages that you have shared with me. Good morning, Bless, and good morning to your panelists. Please ask Mr. Dereck, does the current government have the plans to take back those looted cantonment lands that he talked about this morning for the state? G.S. Husseini from Tamale, I think he's already mentioned, so he's already touched on that. This one, Samson Vance says, bless, this NDC government is very weak. They just go ransacking the former government officials' homes and that's ends it. Can the former finance minister is enjoying his stolen money? Fine, the UK, they are noisemakers, talk. That's how they are. Sami Adenta. Thank you, Sami. The dollar keeps dropping against the cedis, but local goods still at old price. Why should it be so? Is it intentional to make President Mahama look bad? Price of local goods should be reduced now. If we want Ghana to be a better place, the local businessmen should reduce the price of their goods and save the ordinary Ghanaian. Okay, thank you very much. On to some more stories. This one here also says that Ghanaians should not mind the NPP. Ghanaians have voted for Senator John Mahama. where whoever has chopped Ghana's money will pay. Good morning, Bless, and good morning to your panelists. Please ask Mr. Dereck if this government have plans to take back the looted cantonment lands. Okay?
Yes, this government does, and I think President John Mahama said it countless times. He's actually promised to set up a presidential commission of inquiry into all the looted lands, particularly the Gadangbe lands, the expropriation of the Gadangbe lands. I think it's up to citizens, just like we did with the 120-day,
social contract.
We have to, keep asking, and I think the media will have to do same. I want to see Sami, Solo, and your boss and others who are saying that Oral must work to ensure that indeed Oral works. And like I said, I've pledged my support, and I'm sure millions of Ghanaians out there will pledging their support. As for my lands, Charlie will die with the people there. Kid Jeffrey should go and do Galancy and can't take my land. Then Addison will go and print this money and can't take my land together with his deputies.
Right.
It won't work.
Let me say good morning to Mr. Solomon Owusu. Not usual of him to be late.
Yes.
I'm sure our viewers will pardon him.
Yes, they have to pardon me because the traffic situation in Accra
it's terrible.
It's unusual.
I thought it was a decongestion exercise.
Yes.
They are coming. They are coming back.
It's sad, you know why? People are. You see, the impunity. NPP is funny. They are trying to negate everything, every gain that the government is making, thinking that they are doing so they can win power. It's an opportunity for Ghana to reset. Ghanaians want the reset.
Yeah.
And I think that if they are wise, they should allow the NDC to do the cleaning in the hope that one day, in the long distant future, when Ghana has been turned into a first world country and they get opportunity to come back, they will inherit something that's positive. But this thing, it will bounce back on them.
Right. CD.
Sorry?
The CD.
Yeah, I think that the stability of the CD is good. The strengthening of the CD against the dollar is even better. And I'd commend the governor of the Bank of Ghana and the finance minister to a large extent for the collaboration of those two entities in ensuring that the fiscal and monetary policies are in sync and are working to yield results that are showing. And I think also that the global issues that are also causing some of these things to happen across the world cannot be discounted. However, there are countries that are not enjoying that so-called global, phenomenon that is hurting the dollar. And so it cannot be said that nothing is happening and it's only the global situation that is causing the cedi to appreciate against the dollar and other currencies. To the price reduction component, as in including the transport sector, I think that one of the first 120 days social contract issues, and that one was even pegged at 100 days, was the removal of or scrapping of some taxes and levies. And that included that on vehicle parts, especially for some agricultural and industrial equipment. And that has happened. And I think that the transport sector should be hailing these interventions by President John Dramani Mahama. The focus on agriculture is also very clear. And I think that we must not look at just the fact that he reduces ministries, but there's a heavy should I say, agric, harmonization in various ministries. So you look at the Ministry of Trade, for example. In addition to the existence of the agric ministry itself, the agribusiness component of the Ministry of Trade is to ensure that agric and agribusiness is factored or it's at the fore of the thoughts of the Trade Minister, even as he, engages in policy formulation and all that. I know also that there is at the presidency a special, office for agribusiness. It's headed by Dr. Peter Otokuno. And so if you have these three working in sync, and Eric Opoku is a wonderful guy, the agric minister, then there's also the aquaculture, that is our own Emilia Arthur is also heading that. So if all of these very wonderful ladies and gentlemen work together, and the public is informed as to some of the policy interventions and their ability to take full advantage of, these policies. Because it's one thing having wonderful policies, and the public is not aware of the opportunities that are there. For example, today you see on the front page of some newspapers that the foreign minister has been able to secure something in Jamaica, I believe, for Ghanaians to go and practice some professions there. That is Jamaica. There are others also in the offering for different countries and so on. If you are not made aware of these and you do not take advantage, those opportunities would be there but would not be utilized. So I think that there must be the information flow. There should also be the other, component of the government itself pushing. And I think that's where our Lord institutions like the NEIP, and coincidentally Erica J is already in Ohio trying to secure some funding for NEIP so that there's not less investment into the NEIP to allow for young people who are entrepreneurial driven to start their own businesses, which are have the thrust to ensure that we have import substitution. At the heart of the NEIP operations is import substitution. All right. Now, if we don't have to import so much, and we can produce things locally that would be of a certain quality that Ghanaians will use, and therefore the pressure on the cedi is reduced, will have a greater value for the cedi as opposed to the dollar. That's one. Two, if the Ghanaian or the young people are encouraged in that direction even more, and they produce, and these things are of a quality that can be exported, it means that we'll now earn also more dollars, and then the cedi to dollar ratio also would still keep this, because we need to sustain this thing beyond just maybe a 9-day thing. Because if you listen to the traders, most of them say that we imported these things about some 2 months ago, whatever. We need an extra 60 days or so to sell the old stock so that we can take full advantage of the fall in the dollar vis-a-vis their new imports in order to sell at that price. So assuming that by tomorrow the dollar starts appreciating, then they have an excuse. So we need to work diligently at ensuring that this does not become a fluke, and I believe it's not going to be a fluke because there are so many instruments that the Bank of Ghana can use, and in tandem with the Finance Ministry. And these have very serious heads who are clear in their minds as to what they want to achieve. I've heard the governor, for example, say that they are not going to, as it were, target a certain, give any targets on where they want the cedi to be relative to the dollar, and so on and so forth. And I think that if Ghanaians play their part, rather than allow the NPP to do partisan politics with everything, including even this appreciation of the cedi. Because look, the issue of speculation can in a large measure affect the cedi to dollar and so on. I remember during the NPP time, they were accusing the NDC of doing speculation. So at least they know that speculation can affect. So they cannot deny the fact that speculation can affect. And indeed, they are speculating. They are doing all manner of things to, as it were, shift people's minds from whatever. But I agree again with Solo that if we are able to sustain this aura, and indeed we all do know that we know where the dollars are. Mm-hmm. Those dollars have not even come out yet properly. Yes, some of them may be changing it. If you see the skyscrapers that are beginning to, at a fast rate go up, that should tell you that these people are trying to turn their cedis, their dollars into cedis, and buying all sorts of building materials to put up these buildings. And so obviously those also would impact on the cedi's appreciation against the dollar. However, the dollars that are still in their water tanks, the dollars that are still in their beds, their mattresses that they sleep on, in their pillows that they lay their heads on, in their fridges and freezers, must be gotten. The way to do that is to invade their homes, gain access to these based on intelligence and tip-offs. And I encourage all the maidservants not to steal like they did to Celia Dapa. They should just tip off the police. And I think the police and the intelligence agencies should have a reward system for whistleblowers to encourage this kind of whistleblowing. Because if these dollars are taken into the custody of the state, yes, like Solo said, these can be used to, as it were, improve the stability of not just the city but the economy at large. And I think that that's the way to go. But the president is focused, his ministers and appointees are focused and are doing what is necessary. The public must be brought in tandem, and I think that the fourth estate, which is the media, have a role to play. Civil society also has a role to play. But above all, we need an organized society. You see, elsewhere in the developed countries, it is easy to see a situation where even when stock levels of a company begin to drop, it is immediately felt.
Yeah.
But in Ghana, we have a very disorganized, I would say informal. I wouldn't say informal, economy. It actually defeats the real thing. There's a disorganized system.
Right.
So even the transport sector, yes, you may have the GPRT and Protoir, and then the concerned, what about those unions. But there are all manner of others who are not belonging to these, and everybody does what they want. So it is difficult to, as it were, in one day say, oh, okay, this has happened, and therefore prices must go down, and then it happens. Yes, of course, they'll find excuses. But then again, I agree again with him that, and I do know that there are some agreements that they have with the transport ministry that if in 2 successive cycles the what do you call it, the petrol prices go beyond a certain percentage drop, there must be a reduction, or when they go up beyond same, that is increased. We have seen significant drops in the petrol prices, but they'll tell you again that it's not just the petrol and lubricants that they use, spare parts. Like I've told you, the president has already scrapped those taxes, so those also fly out of the window. But Ghanaians, as in citizens, must also put pressure. If I go and sit in a trotro and I say I won't pay a certain rate, that's just me.
Yeah.
But if we collectively, just like they collectively say they will not reduce their fares and we can't do anything about it, if citizens collectively also agree that, look, we will not take this nonsense, we will pay you this and this is what you deserve, collectively, I think that we should be able to make the market shift in our interest. Everything should be in the interest of the Ghanaian people. If the market person realizes that nobody is buying their wares because it's selling Togbe for 1 cedi and there's a Togbe seller next to him selling it for 50 pesos, who's going to get the market? So I think that increasingly that's the direction we should be going, and I would want to encourage those of you in the media and civil society to do more to assist not just the government but the Ghanaian people to get a better life. Right.
Thank you very much. My time is up. Thank you, Mr. Solomon Obusu. Thank you, Prince Dereck.
But you will allow me to say something to my La people. Just 1 minute.
You started with La.
No. Let me end on that note. Let me end with that. There's still some madness going on in La, along the Chieftaincy lines. There are all manner of idiots trying to play, into it. It's not necessarily all La indigenous. Some who are not, and for selfish reasons, because they want to appropriate some of these lands or have already appropriated some of these lands, and the courts have deemed it La lands and not other people's lands, and so they are still machinating through to get Chieftaincy institution destabilized. The last 2 owned the lands that were given to the state, and the state owes the responsibility to get to the last 2. We would want a situation where there will be proper leadership in La soon that can sit with the government to have finality to the relationship between the last state or the last 2 and the Ghana nation. So Ghanaians can benefit from the lands that the 2 will give to government for the purpose of national development, not individual allocations to, should I say, states actors. All those lands must be retrieved and given to the states to use for national development. And the security agencies must also act swiftly to stop persons who are trying to, create confusion in the Chieftaincy institution, not just in La, but across the country.
Thank you very much, Prince Dereck, and to our cherished viewers.
Dereck, I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal le Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.